Welcome to the Black Adam. That's question 6. We have graph F and we also have graph G, and then graph G there, and we also have the point D, E, and P, so the point intersection of the graph F, and we also have turning point of graph F, which is T. So T, let's write the coordinates. It's +1 to -4. So graph F and G intersect at point E and P. So that's E and P. So we're required to find the range. So the range is all the possible values of y. So y has a minimum value of -4 at that point up to +infinity. And then we have -4 up to +infinity, and we have to represent that in different ways or format. So -4 to +infinity would mean that y is less or equal to -4, or you can also say that y is an element of -4 to +infinity, so that's how you can represent that. And then we go to the next question there. The next question would mean we need to find the coordinates of DE. So DE there, we know that it's x-intercept. So because x-intercept, we relate the equation equal to 0, so y is 0 at that point, and then we have to equal that to 0, equate that to 0. So that's write the equation first. X squared minus 2x minus 3 is equals to 0, and then we factor. So factoring that is 3 and 1, the product. So it's x, then it's -3, +1. So that means x minus 3 is equals to 0, or x plus 1 is equals to 0, which means x is -1. So x is equals to 3, or you can just put them so those are answers, but just let me just rewrite that once again. So it's x plus 1 is equals to 0, which means x is equals to 3, or we have x is equals to -1. You take 1 to the right hand side, change signs. And then the other thing that we know that that's -1 and that's +3. So we write the coordinates. So E is equals to 3 to 0, and D is equals to -1 to 0, because that line y is 0 at the center, at the original point. So what we do next, we have to determine the equation of G. So G is y is equals to mx plus c. So we don't know m and c, so we need to find m, which is gradient, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the gradient. So we choose 2 points of the line, so that's E and P, and then we know that P is -3, y, where x is 0, and then you know that we need to find the gradient between E and P, or PE. So choosing our point will be E, which is 0 minus 3 is equals to 3 over 3, which is 1. Okay, so which means we are choosing that point there. Y is P, so P is going to be -3 for y. Okay, and then we have we can choose a point of our choice. Point of our choice is going to be 3 and 0, and then we know that y is 0 and our gradient is 1 given there, and then our x and E is 3. So then we have to solve for C. So C is 0 is equals to 3 plus C, so C is equals to -3. So with C -3, with x, which is 1, gradient is x3, and then C minus 3, so we have gradient is 1, x, and then -3. So that's 1 times x is x, so that means that calculating the equation, which is mx plus which is c is -3, so it gives us g of x is going to be what x, which 1 times x is x, so it's x minus 3. So that's our equation for the straight line on the graph, which is the graph G. That's our answer for 6.3. Moving on to 6.4, it says that if graph of f minus graph of g greater than 0, so we're looking at a point where the graph of f is on top. So you can see that it's on top on the values where x is from 3 to infinity. So that means what we do, we are going to find the values. So which means we have one possible value, x greater than 3. So remember that it has to be positive times positive to give you positive, which is greater than 0. Alright, and then the other factor that we're going to look at, we're also going to look at where it's above. We have other part of the graph which is also above that, so that would be from 0 up to negative infinity, that part. So from there we have x is less than 0. So that's it. So that's our information there. So x is element of negative infinity to 0. That is union of 3 to positive infinity. So there are two systems. You can use the first one or the second one. Thank you. And then h, question 5, whereby we find the vertical distance. It says the vertical distance h is equals to negative f, or h is equals to negative f for x is negative 2 to 3. So what we do there, we find h of x is equals to negative graph of f, yeah. H of x is equals to negative f of x is equals to, so we find the value there, f of x, and then we change the signs. So negative means all the signs changes, so that's going to be negative x squared plus 2x plus 3. So remember that is the equation for f, which has to be negated in that way. So h of x is going to be g of x. That is to find the distance, you know. So the distance there in terms of vertical information, that will be minus x squared plus 2x plus 3, the equation above that we found. And then from there we have to minus. Okay, so we need to, we have to minus we mean between h and g, so that means we have to minus g. So remember g, that's our equation for g, x minus 3. So it's x minus 3 for g, and that is equals to negative x squared plus 2x plus 3 minus x plus 3. And then we simplify further, so power 2 is the only one we have, which is negative, and then 2x minus x is going to be x, and then plus 3, that's plus 6. So that is the difference in distance. So what we don't know, we have the equation of the distance, so we don't know what the value is. So the value means that when you find the distance, we need to find the gradient, okay, at that point. So it's equals to 0, so the gradient would be 2x plus x is equals to 0. So we have 2x is equals to negative 1. So solving for x is going to be negative 1 over negative 2. Okay, so that means we have d distance, so that's d for distance for max, is going to be the equation, which is negative x squared plus x plus 6 at x is equals to half. So we substitute half there, so that gives us negative half squared plus half plus 6. Okay, so that will give us negative 1 over 4 plus half plus 6. So that is more like negative half plus 6, you know. So that would be 6 and quarter, so unit, you know. So okay, so that's gonna be 6 and quarter unit. That's the distance. So we come into equation 6.6. determine if k is tangent, determine n if k is a tangent to f. This question, what we do, we first write the equation of f. So f of x is equals to x squared minus 2x minus 3. So differentiating that so that we find the tangent. So differentiate that is 2x minus 2, and from there we know that which is equals to 1. Why? Because the tangent is 1. That's the gradient. Gradient is 1. Tangent and gradient is more like a line. So m is 1 there, so which means equal to 1. So gradient of g graph, m of g is 1. Same equation, so which means the gradient is the same. So gradient at k and gradient at g graphs are the same line. So when the same line means the gradient is the same. So we're going to write 2x is equals to 1 plus 2. So I take 2 the other side. So 2x is going to be 3 over 2. So that's the value at x. And then we need to find out at 3 over 2 from the original graph, what do we have? So we substitute 3 over 2 there, where we get 3 over 2, all of that squared, that's that part, minus, and we have 2 bracket 3 over 2, that's that part, and then we have minus 3, and then that will mean that it's gonna be 9 over 4 minus, so the 2 cancels each other, so we have minus 3, and then that part minus 3. Okay, so that will mean that we have 9 over 4. So 9 over 4 minus 6, okay, that will give us negative 3 over 4, and we know that that's negative 3.75 if you put it to decimal value. And from there, what we do, we find that y is equals to mx plus c, and then we need to find the value for c. We know that y is also putting into fractions is negative 15 over 4. So negative 15 over 4, that will mean that we have negative 15 over 4. That is our y, and then is equals to gradient is 1, and then x value there is 3 over 2, and then plus c. So we need to solve for c. So solving for c there, you just simplify depending on which technique you're using. So it's negative 15 over 4, that is for y. Yeah, it's negative 15. It has to be negative 15 over 4 because that's our y value, negative 15. So solving for c is going to be negative 15 over 4, and then we take the 3 over 2 to the left hand side, it's going to be negative 3 over 2. So if you simplify further, you can use simple calculation, or you can use a calculator. But simple calculation would mean that we have negative 21 over 4. So when you simplify the fractions, from there we know that our c is going to be negative 21 over 4. Now coming back, because remember we need to solve for n. Okay, so solving for n there, and that is g, graph of g, which is for the constants only. So dealing with the constants, we have negative 3 negative n, that's the constant part, is equals to 21 over 4. Okay, so 21 over 4, that is the value that has to be. Okay, so that would mean that solving for n there, so we have n is equals to, take negative 21 over 4 to that side, so we have negative, you have positive 21 over 4 minus 3. So n is going to be okay, let's simplify that first. 21 over 4, so that will be 4 times negative 3 is negative 12 over 4, so that is 9 over 4. That's our final answer. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to follow or subscribe.